sitting out there when he threw that glass.
Yeah.
He
So
wouldn't.
anybody have any hard things going on right now that
they
need help on any transactions?
What's going on out there?
I got a question.
Okay.
So I got a buyer who's going through a divorce.
Uh-huh.
He wants to look at a couple homes, so I said, yeah, I'll set it up. He's a buddy of mine. But when I just talked to him before I came in, he goes, don't worry, my dad will pay cash for it. So I gotta show him the house and then do a buyer's agency agreement with the dad, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Unless-
it depends who's taking
depends.
title.
Yeah, who's taking title?
Right.
Probably the
He's
dad.
buying it for his
Yeah.
son, but
Because he doesn't want, the son's like, I don't want this
In the
Dad?
German people,
Yeah.
his German ex-wife, to know about it. So it's
Okay.
the title will be in dad's name.
Oh,
Yeah,
Dad
that's
don't
what
pay
we're
cash
doing.
for it. It'll be in
Yeah, then
dad's
you just
name.
do
Are
it.
they
Dad's
already
gotta do
with
that.
the dad?
So I got to do everything with
To
the
the
dad
dad,
now.
yep.
With the
Okay.
dad, yeah.
So I got to shift
If he's
gears
gonna
over
be on
there.
title.
comfortable.
Awesome.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So they
Okay.
won't be there when I go for him.
I had an agent come in yesterday, and I thought I'd tell you guys about this because it's so cool. You know how people go to a cork board at a business, they put their cards all over the thing?
Yeah.
So, to me, it's like a waste of time to do that. But this lady comes in and says, yeah, I'm here to see such and such, and she's all professional looking and everything. I thought, oh, that's a good client. And he comes in and he meets with her in the conference room for like an hour or so, and then they leave and stuff. And then he comes in and I said, so was that a new client? And he goes, no, she basically takes all the cards off the cork board and calls us and meets with all of us, and she's a business consultant. And I thought, wow, that is genius. It's like a cork board is like a tiny little, like a B&I group, if so to speak,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
if you met with everybody on the cork board, you might be able to help each other get business and stuff. I just thought that was such a genius idea. She goes to different restaurants and takes everybody's.
Just take a picture of it.
Yeah.
Well, maybe she doesn't take the card. Maybe she takes me. I don't know what she does.
You can go
Maybe
take
she takes a
a.
picture. I don't know.
Card.
You know, I
But then she meets with every single person, and I thought, how could she not get business that way? How could
Sure she does.
she has to?
Has to.
And I thought that was such a genius, and I was like, you should do that, man. Like you should go out to the cork board.
I do the same kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
I'll take everybody's cards
That are real.
And throw them in the trash.
and then I replace them with all mine. So,
Are you still in the B&I group you were?
I mean, I know it's a hard
No.
way to get business, but I just thought it was genius because everybody has an angle in getting business. Everybody
Yeah.
niches somehow,
moron.
Sounds pretty interesting.
Was
It's
that
not
the
the
lady
traditional.
meeting you yesterday? Blonde hair, short hair?
And she wanted me to resign.
Oh, there was a short. Yeah, right, yeah.
That was her?
It was. Yeah, that was her.
Okay.
So yeah.
And how many years?
Yep.
She said Scott. I thought she
It
said.
was Scotty.
Go ahead.
The other Scott.
Oh, gotcha.
I thought it was you, and I was like, I can't believe Scott's late, and I was gonna call you. And then he comes kicking in 5 minutes late. I was like, oh, thank God.
Wow.
But that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that is a good idea.
Anybody else have any transactions that are weird or? Okay, well, she just said you're looking for an apartment building, so if anybody knows of apartment building,
I'm-
let her know.
Yeah, we talked to Sue about it, but there are some stipulations with it, so yeah.
Aren't there always?
Yeah,
Yeah. That's cool.
yeah,
It's all
but,
good. We can talk later.
How about the mortgage market? So like it's unbelievably.
We should just leave. Yeah, let's just get out of here now, man.
I don't understand. It
Yeah.
went down and then it shot up. Like I understand the bonds. Everything.
So I did
it's
look
like
at
the
it.
stock market.
We're still not seeing rates as bad as we saw in January.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
they're not at the highs.
they're not at the highs.
Yeah.
So I mean, realistically, they're just not what they were 2 weeks ago.
But they went up overnight.
Well, yeah, usually equities do bad, bond market does great, right? But it's not the case right now, right? Did you read anything on it too?
I was
So
yeah
two
all
things I
morning.
read. One was there's a rumor out there that China's selling off all their
Yeah.
treasuries.
Yeah.
I heard
I read
that.
that.
Yes.
It's not
That's not
happening.
true.
It's
They're
not
trying to
happening.
crash
It's not
the
happening.
real estate market.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
not true.
Their holdings have gone down. They're at about $750 billion. They're like the number 3 holder of bonds. It's actually the U.S. then it was Japan, and then it's China. So their stuff is starting to mature. That's why their balance sheet has been falling down, because it's just running off
It's just
normal
roll
when
off.
it matures.
Yeah, it's
Right.
normal roll off.
So it wasn't a sell-off, because they'd be stupid to do that, because they would take huge losses if they did that right now.
Absolutely, have destroyed.
So they're not selling those off.
So when we read those articles that China's selling off all the,
It's against.
It's all
They're-
doom and gloom.
it's
so they're literally just spinning
Propaganda.
something?
It's
Absolutely, it's all
propaganda.
That
propaganda.
is-
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Because
100%.
the
But
headline
you see
was,
how it can affect things.
this is how
Everything.
China can
There's so much
crash
fake
our real
news
estate
now.
market.
Can't, they can't.
No one
No.
knows
They'd be
what to
stupid to do
believe.
it.
Good news doesn't sell.
I can't
Yeah.
watch it.
Good,
Right,
yeah,
yeah.
you got to sell some sort of controversy.
Well, I mean,
Like,
sometimes you read these financial things, right? And if it says,
Right.
That's not good
this is how
stuff
China
to
can
doubt
crash our
about.
market,
Somebody.
I have to read it,
high
like for
profile
our real
office
estate
has
market.
Hard.
I have
Yeah,
to read it.
absolutely.
And the
Yeah,
market goes
because
down
I don't
fast.
know what's truth or what's not, but
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
so glad you brought that up, because
It's like, this is not-
when I read that, I thought, oh my goodness, China could sell off all that stuff and we'd be screwed. in the
Everybody
market.
could,
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
right?
Yeah,
Why
but they-
would they?
but you're going to take losses.
Insane.
even
Yeah.
then they would, well, there's nowhere else, like, so if they sold those, what are they gonna do with the money? Where would they go buy it? We're the largest treasuries,
Yeah.
Right.
you know,
Okay.
market in the world, like by far. There's no one even close to us. So it makes no sense.
So that article might have been a hypothetical. This is how they could.
Well, even
It was a
No.
spin
Yeah,
on
but they
their.
would be
It was a
dumb.
spin on their role.
someone's
to do
opinion,
that.
I think.
All these,
Yes,
all these
absolutely.
articles
Someone's
That's
hope.
all it is now.
about any kind of commodity or anything, you read the headline, you're like, oh man, and then you read the story, and you're trying to find the
Why
the cash in.
correlation.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
where are you going to tell me about this headline that
The
made me
slant.
click?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, this is what I think.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not even news.
Yeah.
I mean, fake news is at least news. This isn't even news.
There are
So-
people that actually write those articles.
It's like,
It's clickbait.
It is.
Yeah, they get
yeah,
paid.
absolutely.
It is, but it's
they're on-
but it's the
they're on
truth in a
reputable
way,
sites.
right? They could
I start with the
lose
comments
a bunch of
before I
money.
read the
and-
article.
There's an
They would-
undertone of
It'd be stupid.
Right, it's an
Potential
undertone of
truth.
it, Right.
The other thing is,
Potential
so when you buy a house, just wait up, let me try to explain it this way. If I go pay 100%, you know, just pay cash for the house, and the value goes up 1%, well, I made 1% on my money, right?
Yep.
But if I put 10% down and I leverage the other 90%, I go get a mortgage, and it goes up 1%, how much money did I make?
A lot more.
I made a lot more on return
Right.
because I only
Yeah.
put,
Right.
I only got 10% in the
Right.
deal, right?
Yeah.
So it's the same thing in the bond market. You can go and these companies will, big, huge investors, they'll leverage their investment. So they only put 100,000 in, but you know they buy, but it's 100 times amplified when
Right.
they leverage. So, but then when the market reacted like it did, and they're buying it on margin basically these bonds, and their margins got called. So that means they have to sell immediately.
Yeah.
And
they have to
that's-
liquidate other
Liquidate-
higher yield.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That they wouldn't ordinarily want to do, and that made that hurt the market too, the bond market, because now what happens when you put more sold, that the yields come down, right? Like, oh, it's being flooded, the market's being flooded, so the yield's going to go down. So
Good.
that's why you saw both markets just not correlating like they normally would.
But then
Thanks
they
for
ended
explaining
like
that,
pretty
yeah.
close to, right, at the end of the market.
Yeah,
That
but today
day they
it's
came
down
back
again.
up.
It's
Yeah.
down again today.
Take
Yeah.
So,
It's day by day.
So
Yeah.
crazy.
It's gonna be day by day.
And it's
Until we
For
get this
4 years
tariff
it will
thing
be.
done, and until that's all worked out and all these trade deals are worked out, it's gonna be the same. It's gonna be
You
like
can make
this.
some money on it.
Yeah.
That's
well,
what I was
but he
thinking.
posted that. It's
Yeah,
a good
the
time to buy right
volatility,
now.
It's a fun game
Now he's
to
inside.
play.
That's what they're saying.
Or get burned.
We're already in the last round.
but,
as
okay,
long
so-
as you have enough gin, it's fun.
Yeah.
yeah. So, but what, a week ago or something, they were like, rates are down because the stock market's
They
down.
were.
They were.
So then yesterday went up 3,000 points. So you saw like a giant like this with rates?
No,
Like
but
I wasn't paying attention
It wasn't a giant,
of what was
but
going
You're
on.
seeing like a quarter point shift.
yeah, you're seeing.
They say the
It's not
10-year
massive.
Treasury
That
bond
was
was
it?
down.
Okay.
It's not ma-
They
it's
say
not
that was
massive,
down.
but-
The
It went
10-year
below
Treasury
4.
was down.
But
as
again,
well.
it's going like this too.
Yeah,
All
it
the
says
gains you
it's
saw
3.8.
were evaporated in one
And then
day.
it shot right
Yeah.
back up. So-
Okay.
Like, you know, because of the whole tariff thing.
Now,
Yes.
Sue, you said what went below 4?
The 10-year.
Oh, the 10-year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
it
mean,
It
wasn't
was
been in a long
4.3 to
time.
like
Yeah.
3.86, like in one day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would have been calling all your
That's when
clients
those
saying,
margins
"Get
got
ready to
called."
lock,
Yes.
Get ready to lock.
Yeah.
That's what screwed.
And China freaked out, and here we are.
And the 10 years over
It's
the
smart what
100-day
they're doing.
moving
Absolutely.
It really is smart.
It
If
really
somebody
is.
would have
Sucks,
locked
but-
last week, would that have been good?
Oh yeah.
wow.
Oh yeah. If you had locked last week, it would have been better than
Didn't even Warren
even
Buffett came
Monday
out and said that
versus
this
you
was
know
the
Yeah,
best
Monday
thing.
versus today.
Today.
Even-
Yeah.
Before
Yeah.
he said it was horrible.
Yeah, but now he's like, this is the best thing a
Yeah.
president's
Jump
ever
on board
done.
when things are going the right direction.
You're right.
There you go. Yeah. Can I just say something really quick?
Yeah,
about-
go for it.
Just something kind of strange, which for you guys anyway. The fact that you guys are so like you're always in a precarious position with your residential folks because they have to be protected way more than commercial. So just a case in point, I did this transaction with Sue. She referred something to me, and the landlord wouldn't pay in a timely way that he's supposed to.
Commission.
Yeah, the commission for the lease, and I can lien his property.
Uh-huh.
So you guys don't get a chance to do that, do you? You can't lien someone's house if they're.
Because it
Absolutely.
normally gets
Yeah.
worked
No, we
out.
absolutely
Really?
can.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know you could.
But doesn't a
Oh,
lot of
good for
stuff
you.
go through
We
like
could do it.
arbitration
It's just
or
like a
something?
mechanics lien.
Yeah.
right.
It's like okay, I didn't know you guys could do that
So,
as a commission.
oh,
like,
I had a situation back in '08. I started doing broker price opinions, which is like digging ditches of real estate.
$35.
So
I made money on BOVs. I mean,
Dirty job.
yeah, so, yeah. So I'm doing a broker price opinion, which would take me an hour to 2 hours in front of the computer, not to
Yeah.
mention the time to get the pictures,
Sure.
for $50.
What?
Okay, and I was doing them. I mean, I had 15 listings in '08, and I made $17,000.
It's because there's a promise of a potential
You know,
listing.
But
Yeah, right.
well,
I see.
it just turned out to be if I do enough of these, I can. Ramen is cheap. So
I
I
charge
had,
1,000 minimum for those.
I had a company
Wow.
So, yeah.
that just didn't pay me,
Okay.
and I did like 100 of them.
Wow.
You know, not 100, but 80 of them. And
That's a lot.
I'm like, when do I get paid? And this is over several months.
Why'd you keep doing them?
Well, I was new.
Yeah,
I
at
worked
that
to it.
time it was the thing to do.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so
And you're like, great.
Sorry,
I
not
get
to-
paid.
So what I
Kick you
did
down,
was
but-
I got on the internet, found a chat room,
Why'd you go back?
you know,
Stupid
a
tax, they call it.
bulletin board, whatever they're called, and somebody suggested, okay, here's what you do: you send them an email outlining how much they owe, and it was like almost $3,000. And I said, I'm going to, they're in Florida, file a mechanics lien on every single property, and send this to the state attorney, blah, 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 whatever they said. And a week later, I had every penny they owed me, minus
bet.
one. There was $40 they didn't owe me, so I thought, well,
Wow.
Well, I mean, commercial.
so we could totally
Yeah.
do
Yeah,
that.
you can retaliate for sure.
I don't know if I can do that on a BOV. Mine take a lot longer than an hour. They take a long time.
Oh, yeah, well, if you're getting paid
Yeah,
$1,000
I
bucks.
mean,
Let's
Well,
hope
no,
they
but I
take
mean,
more
you're
than an
charging
hour.
more, too.
yeah. No, I mean, you can't just do it in an hour. It's like impossible. You wouldn't. There would be nothing meaningful there.
Yeah.
You know, but anyway, yeah, I didn't know you guys could do that. That's good. Thank goodness, because you guys
It's a
have
good
so many.
reminder. It's a powerful tool.
Yeah.
You
I
don't
had a
see it a
tenant
lot.
do it.
I
to
was
me
this
once.
close. I was that close.
It's just
Yeah.
like the guy that, you know, that did your siding, he never paid him. He will just. file
That's why you gotta get
mechanics
lien releases,
Yeah.
you know, because if you don't, you might not even know anything and you can get screwed, you know. So.
I had a tenant that had a right to go back and get the vegetables from his garden.
Oh, really?
He had this big fancy garden. And I was selling the house. And he had to move out, and he had a right to go back and get his crop. And he put a lien on just to make sure he could.
Unbelievable.
Wait a minute.
How big
You
was
can
this
do a
garden?
preemptive lien
Yeah.
on a house?
I went to close, and there was a lien there.
that's
I'm sure
ridiculous.
Well, yeah,
Wow.
anybody can
Because he
file
wanted to, he
anything.
wanted his crop.
Anybody can
Yeah, but
file
how
You can
anything.
file
that.
a mechanic. I mean,
It wasn't
I could go to
allowed.
your house
Yeah.
tomorrow
Did
and
it-
file a
Anybody
mechanics.
can file, but it's just
I
amazing.
got it
And we
removed.
date down your
I got it
file.
removed.
Okay.
We made an
We date
agreement
down
with
your
the new
file the
owner,
night
so he
before
was allowed to go
closing to
once a
see
week into
if
their
there's
backyard
anything new
Wow.
and get
recorded.
his vegetables.
Okay.
He was like that. He was a dirtbag.
Forever?
Until the crop was done, till maybe
Just throw that
October or
seed.
something.
Wow, so you have
He's
to
going
dive
over
in your
there like
yard?
every
Coming
week.
back?
He got to go in the new owner's backyard once a week to pick his
Yeah.
vegetables. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh
yeah,
my
by the way,
gosh.
it's a perfect site for the hot tub pads.
Yeah.
Sorry about your rutabaga.
So that happened to me one time where I had the seller and I was selling the house and it was under contract and the buyer was going through and they delayed the closing and finally we had another offer come in and we didn't delay the third time and we said deal's done and we're gonna go with this other offer. So we went with the other offer. And when we went to closing, there was a lien from the buyer previously. The realtor helped him put it on the house. And we were like, we couldn't sell the house, without that being removed. So we went back to that buyer and we're like, we're gonna sue you. And they're like, go ahead, take us to court, we'll sue you, right? And I'm like, we're like, well, what do you want? I want $5,000, And
Wow.
my seller said, okay, I gotta sell my house, just pay
Here
the
you go.
$5,000.
Wow.
What?
That's just so.
And then
And,
call an
uh,
attorney and
Because
sue him for
you didn't
extortion.
pick him?
Right, because the buyer, they kept delaying, like
So
we
they-
didn't know what was going on. We finally got tired of it, and because he needed to sell his house, so we took another offer.
But you never had an offer accepted?
Crazy.
Huh?
It was
No, it was
accepted,
under
I
We
think
had an
it just
accepted
didn't
offer.
extend it, time
So we didn't
down.
extend it, it
Yeah,
just kept
time down.
delaying and
Oh,
delaying,
okay.
so we didn't extend it
Throwing you out of
finally.
contract.
And then they ran down and put a lien on the house, and I want $5,000 for my
Scary.
time.
That's
How come that
extortion.
doesn't happen
That
more
is
often?
total extortion.
illegal.
It was extortion,
Can't
but
do
it was
that.
by a company called Trey Laura. And you know
Denver.
Trey Laura, oh
Fudgy
yeah.
monkey.
Trey Laura,
Yeah.
out of
They
Denver.
suck.
And that guy is so evil, like, the guy that started it. Trey Laura is realtor, letters scrambled,
Oh,
okay?
yeah.
And he, had a big article in the Denver Post that he was trying to, shake up real estate because realtors are so evil and blah, blah, blah. So he calls this Trey Laura and he basically does all this stuff for people. Every phone call is recorded, so he has everything, and he's got attorneys on staff and all this stuff like that. So I
It's
didn't
all
know.
legal. It's just
Right.
What?
gray area.
It's all
He's
legal, but
waiting
it's
for you to
just that.
step into a.
Right,
If you
so
go to
when we
Coors
finally
Field,
got
they had
sick
a, they
of
had the
them playing
building right
games,
behind,
because whatever he
right
was
on
doing,
I-25.
How is it legal to lien a property that you don't have control of?
Anybody can do it.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
if
do
you
it. You
fill
can
out
Anyone
a
can walk in.
contract.
Anyone can
Yeah,
walk into the
exactly.
county
You
recorder
made the
and just
contract
give them the
expire.
document.
Well, so basically, the Trey Laura guy that got the buyer to file this lien basically was like, "Hey, we're going to get you this house, or we'll get you $5,000 because those people should have extended long." But we already extended 3 times, and it was like
That's
horrible.
crazy.
So in
And
reality,
we were
if
like, "You guys are playing games with
Yeah.
us. We can't do this any longer. We have a good offer that'll close in 3 days or whatever."
Yeah.
It's almost
So-
like they
Never
did
saw
this
that before.
to get that $5,000.
Yeah.
Right.
Their goal wasn't.
That's
buy a
their
house.
operation.
Even though
Yeah.
it wasn't legal, right? Oh, well, it was legal, but even though it was like extortion,
Ethical.
my guy could have fought it and won. He
Yeah.
would have had to tie up his house for
Right.
another
Right.
like
And he needed to
6
get out of there.
months.
Yeah.
And that Trey Laura guy would definitely put the hammer to it.
Is that
Yeah.
the name of his company?
Yeah.
So if you're driving
Because
up
he hates roads.
I-25 to Coors Field, right at that, I forget what it is,
Yeah.
Mountain. There's a sports store right behind it, right on I-25. But they had the big brick and glass building right there. And it had Trey
REI.
Laura.
I thought it was REI.
Yeah, they were just west of REI, right?
And is
But
it
that other
They
one,
still
there's
there?
another
TRE
Mountain
and then
Equipment.
Oh,
or
that
something.
store.
Or is it
You know
all
that
one word?
Eastern
Take
Mountain
a
Sports.
realtor and
Yeah.
TRE.
But they were
But
right
is
on
it
the
2
interstate,
words, or
had
do
this
they leave it
big
as
Trey
one?
Laura.
No, one word.
I had an office in Boulder. They were
But it's like I had to go
Yeah, I've never heard
to
of it.
Denver
Yeah.
and get a $5,000
that.
cashier check
Yeah.
from my client.
This guy?
Yeah, it's just
I don't
similar.
know.
He was
He's
pinched.
young.
And then I had to
Yeah.
run
Needed
to
to.
Maybe
meet
the title
the
company
buyer
can
at a
let him
bank, give him
close.
the check,
And
and then he
escrow.
called the Trey Laura
Yeah.
guy and they removed the lien.
Oh,
and we
if you ever-
closed
if
on
you
it.
So
ever,
you know the
So
other.
I extorted
That
$5 grand.
is
unbelievable.
extortion.
They got a cease and desist, and I can't remember
Right. And in
the
this case, they might not.
can't remember the name of the company, but this lady was writing listing contracts. So if you needed money, did we already talk about this in here once? So it was a company out of Florida. So she was doing this in I don't know how many states, but she put out an advertisement. You have a house, and say you need $5,000. So she would advance you the $5,000,
Yep.
but you would sign a listing contract
Yep.
with her that said you will sell with us or pay us one way or the other.
Right.
And it got recorded, and it was whatever. So if you listed a house up in, it was predominantly in Denver, I think, was most of those. But yeah, you went to go list a house and tried to sell it, you couldn't because she got 3% commission on it, or I think most of them were like 4% commissions. I wish I remember the name.
No, I know how.
Yeah, you know
I
the
list
drill,
some
right?
of those right now.
Yeah, so you're seeing them.
I had a company call me and go,
You can't list it.
no, they do. They call and they go, hey, Rob, we have all these clients. Would you take listings? And realtors won't do this, but we'll give you 1.38%. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird. Why? How? And they're, well, we have a contract with them. We gave them money, and they have a listing agreement that says you have to list with us for 3%. And so we already gave them money. It could be years ago,
Yeah.
but they have to list. And so if you'll do this for 1.38%, then we'll give you those when they come due. And so I talked to Scott. I was like, do I want to sign in the yard for 1.38? All right, let's do it. Let's try that. So then they started sending me things, and it was like,
Garbage.
oh man, it was the worst houses ever because the people
needed
that would sign
$5,000.
they needed,
They
needed the money for
a little
something.
bit of money, right? And so I'd start to go out and I'd go, oh, this is a horrible house. I don't know how I'm going to sell it, And so I don't even know if we've closed one yet. I think we had like 3 or 4 of them, and they were just so hard.
But she got about 60,000 people in Colorado to sign that.
Wow.
Not to mention other
And
states.
she didn't give $5,000. They give like 1,800 or something.
Yeah, it was-
They
I
gave
mean-
hardly any money,
Yeah.
but
I think the most was $5,000.
yeah.
All these
But I
deals.
think that they now, because
And I
Colorado
just don't
passed a law where they
like that.
can.
No.
They got a cease and desist. They
They,
can't
yeah,
do
well,
it.
need to start.
they
You're not
still
a
can be under
criminal.
contract, but they have to choose
Now keep your,
to
keep what you got.
honor it, I guess. Like
Yeah.
they can get out of
They
it.
could come back and require commission to be paid to them or sue you for
Right,
sign
because they sent me
crossing.
one in Briargate, and I was like, yes, that's a good one. I'm gonna be able to sell that. And then they said, buyer opted out of the program. I'm sorry, and went a different direction. So that's how I know that Colorado changed it. So they just lost that money.
Yeah.
I have a question about that. When you fall out of contract and they're leaning your house anyway, what happens if the time is of the essence requirements in a contract?
No,
Doesn't
they
that-
could have fought it. They would have
They
won.
would have won, yeah, for
But
sure.
But it would
Why do you
take
have to go
months and
fight it?
months.
It would tie the house up for a long
Civil
time.
Well, what are you supposed
I
to
just
do? If somebody puts a lien against your house, you
Do
have
a
to go to
civil
court,
suit
right?
later.
You
I
can't
just don't
just
even understand.
put a shotgun to someone's head.
Well,
Yeah, that might help.
Yeah,
I mean, you
exactly. Yeah, right.
Hey, I got a guy.
Yeah.
That's
You can tell
Forget
full money
about
in escrow for the title.
Guido, I think I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had,
They
had to
wouldn't
call
agree
an
to it.
attorney.
Yeah.
And the attorney was fighting with their attorney, and it was all going back and forth, and I was going, and my seller was like, Rob, I just want to sell my house.
Yeah.
So I have that actually. It's one of my loan officers, but he's got that with I can't remember the name of the builder, some custom builder. But the developer is suing the builder, and I won't say her name, but anyway, it's some sort of family thing. So she's a realtor in town. But these buyers have been trying to buy this house now for, I don't know, 4 months, 5 months. But there was a list pendants filed the date. Did I already say this?
No.
You know
where
which
you're
one
going.
it is.
I could tell where
A
you're
list
going. with it.
pendants filed the day before closing. So the notice of
That means
a
there's
lawsuit.
court, action.
And so that it's for 100. So I forget which title company had it first, but they couldn't do it because they were trying to escrow holdback $120,000. This lien was for $120,000. They were trying to escrow holdback for it, but they couldn't issue clear title. So
Yeah.
clearly, we can't do a mortgage if you don't have clear title.
Right.
And so Core took it and said they were going to do a bond. But now this bond, you have to go through the same adjudication process. Apparently.
Yeah.
So now it's just sitting there in limbo. So these people have lost their good luck. They're like, because we have no timeline
Right.
on when it's going to be available
Yeah.
to clear
Yeah.
this title.
Right. Oof.
So I don't
And
even
that
have
court
a
case can take
solution.
however long.
I'm not
That's
gonna
right.
sell real estate anymore.
So, I'm talking about.
So once
That's
that
awesome.
mechanics lien is filed, or what, you have, what, 6 months
Yeah, it
to
is.
file your court action, right? Otherwise, it goes away.
So
Okay.
when the
What
buyer,
goes-
But the mechanics
lien, I
lien
think.
is good
No.
for 13 months on the property.
Oh.
Wait a minute, the-
Right.
Okay, well, say that again, say that again.
And to prove it.
If somebody puts a lien on your property,
Mhm.
you have
Okay.
6 months?
So let's say a mechanic, construction,
Uh-huh.
right? You don't pay them. They can file their mechanics lien, but within 6 months, they have to file their court action.
Oh.
So there's an intent first.
Yes.
Is that new?
Yeah, no.
so when this former buyer filed a lien, I mean, what was the lien itself?
Yeah, see, it's,
Failure to-
I don't remember, it was a list pendants.
Yeah, but.
so
that's
that's
just
like
court
the,
action.
that's the third, that's the, where we're going to
But
court.
what was,
Yeah, right, yeah.
so when he
What
goes,
was the
that
reason?
the
List
lien
pendants
is
get stamped
for
with a
what?
court number 2.
Like, I haven't
Failure
been
to
paid for
perform on the
services
contract
rendered if
or
it's a
something.
mechanics lien.
I
But as a
don't-
buyer, because I'm thinking, if a buyer can file a lien on a listing that they're no longer under contract with,
Yeah.
could I file a lien on the neighbor across the street that listed with the Westcliff agent?
You could try.
You could try.
Well, of course you could.
You could, yeah, but you could file
That
a
would
lien
be
on
pretty
anything
shady,
because
but-
you can walk into
Okay,
So the guy
you can
across
walk
the street
into the
listed
recorder and
I
record
got it.
somebody else.
so this is a good
You
discussion
could just tie
about
'em up.
title.
It's just a touchy
You're like,
block.
how can I get that?
So the good discussion about title, what I would
Never
like to
take his
know,
trash.
is every time I turn on the TV, I hear, "Do you want your house stolen from you with title
Yeah,
lock?"
yeah,
Home
yeah.
title
It won't be
lock.
stolen.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, is that
Oh,
true?
Oh,
You know,
Oh, yeah, I
I
can't
heard this
wait.
one in a
So I'm
closing.
going to
Okay,
tell
hold
you,
on.
Bill. When I worked at Empire,
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a little bit of good to it because whenever we had an issue with something and something was compromised, Bill McAfee would prescribe home title lock for those people, right? So that we could monitor for
Right.
a while to see. So there is some good in it.
But
You have title
but
insurance.
they don't monitor. They just periodically check your
They
county
probably
records.
flag
If
your
I check
property
my-
and they look for new recordings on your property.
So
is
I
how
get,
they know.
I get
Right.
these. I have a bunch of places in Maine that I inherited from my uncle, and it's all just vacant land that's never had a lien on it. But that's what they're going through these databases. And so this is what I was going to tell you. I was at Empire yesterday, and the closer told me this, scared the shit out of me. And they, you know how we have the mobile notaries, not the mobile notary, the virtual notaries
Yeah,
now, where you
I
can,
did
you
Ron,
can send it off.
basically.
So
Yeah.
she said they were they had to cancel this closing yesterday, day before yesterday, because they were on this, the mobile notary was doing the notarization, and somehow they shifted. So the people on the screen were white, and they turned and they were black.
What?
So whatever software that they were masking, they had real IDs, they had whatever else, but whatever software was masking this notary, this AI notary, they were masking their faces to look like these IDs that they had fabricated to,
Oh, I
buy,
So
to
that's
sell
the
this
next
house.
way of
And I was like,
fraud.
holy shit,
Oh,
this is.
we don't do them.
I don't do them
I
either.
did
Yeah,
try
we
some. I
don't.
did my first one recently.
We can do
and I
them, but
had
we
no
won't
idea
do
We
that was gonna
same
take-
reason.
Your first
Yeah.
one.
Mobile
We
version.
won't do them.
Oh,
Yeah, or like
remote
a remote.
online.
The online thing where
online
they go
notary.
into
That's
a
different.
portal
And it's expensive.
Wow.
It costs
It
more.
costs a lot of
And you
money.
gotta jump through
Security.
some
Yeah.
hoops. You have
So
to.
weird.
Okay, but
you have
back to the title
have
lock.
certain
Yeah,
credentials
so-
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
for them.
So
to
that's
do it.
why you have the title lock. Though.
Yeah, no, but if I have title, if my house is paid off and I have title insurance
Yeah.
from 1998,
That's not going to protect
and
you.
somebody goes in and starts taking out loans and different things, that won't help me. Title
They
insurance
could
won't help
claim
me.
your house.
It's
Well,
just gonna
yeah,
take
your
a while.
title policy. No, because that's going from back forward,
Yeah.
right? The title
Not since
policy.
you owned it,
Yeah.
right.
So
Yeah.
So if somebody starts stealing my title now, aren't you guys responsible for that? You're my insurance.
no, because we issued you
What's
a
the
title
point?
policy previous to your
Everything
closing
from
date
closing date prior.
prior.
Well, that,
Oh.
Our,
No,
our our title
general
insurance
warranty
doesn't
deed.
move
No,
forward.
Yeah,
general
title insurance
warranty
protects you
deed
from
is
the
forever
past.
past and
They
forever
could
in the
never
future.
insure.
But
Oh.
not everybody does
So-
general
so how does
warranty.
the
Yes,
title-
I do.
That's right.
I do special.
Yeah,
ones.
yeah.
That's why you
At a
have to do
certain
general
point,
warranty
yeah,
deeds.
like-
Okay, hold on,
Listing
everybody.
agents.
Yeah.
Well,
You do all the
There are
mountain
different types of
properties.
deeds, the quit claims, the
Yeah.
special warranty. General warranty deed
Is the
is insurance,
For the whole
assurance
time.
for all in the past and all in the future.
That's
So
why
when
title
you're,
companies don't like it.
when you're
Yeah.
quit claiming
Yeah.
these properties, you're losing a lot of that coverage.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Okay,
we're losing all of
so-
that.
Yeah.
Do you
You
really
need a
need
general
title lock?
warranty,
That
yeah.
is the question, because
No.
AI on Google
I don't
says,
think
no,
so.
you don't
I don't
need it.
think you do.
They're just watching
how
over
do-
things, but
so-
they're not providing a service.
Yeah,
They're not-
if
they're
somebody-
They're not
doing
gonna stop
anything.
it
They're not
if it
stopping
happens.
anything. They're gonna
Right.
say, hey,
They're
call
not
your
doing
title
Yeah, yeah,
company.
exactly.
And buy
You
my
call your
house and
lender.
record
Hold
it,
on, hold on, hold
then
on.
it's legal?
I mean, what do you do?
It's not legal.
Well, I know, but
We get on it.
Then
yeah.
they-
I just don't understand.
'Cause the-
It's-
What's the
it sounds
county
like there's no
recorder
protection.
is not doing any type of searching or confirming anything when you walk in with documents to record.
That's the problem with recording.
Right? They're just
People think
stamping
that
it and then
makes
they
it
go
legal.
That's
look for
right.
your
Record
legal
anything.
description and they
People
post
think
it.
that if it's not recorded, that it's not legal. I mean, if I have a quitclaim deed for your house, properly notarized and everything, it's legal, even though I haven't recorded it. Now, if I just record
Right.
something that
Doesn't mean
I
it's
did,
legal.
you know,
Yeah, it doesn't mean
I
it.
Yeah.
notarized it, signed it with my right hand, notarized it with my left hand, and recorded
It's just
it.
attaching it.
It's not legal,
No.
just because I recorded it.
It's not really doing
They're-
anything but being recorded
Making it
to
of
the property
record.
chain.
So
That's it.
I could fabricate a quitclaim deed where Rob quitclaimed his house to me, and then I could get loans against Rob's house.
Sure.
That's how they
Yes,
do this.
that's
How
what-
do you
that's
how
prevent
they
it
do
from
this.
happening?
That's the
I
scary.
mean,
Right,
but
yes.
so then home title lock is one of those things. So they flag your property, and then whatever they have, they can see if
They're just
anything
checking
gets
every once in a
recorded,
while.
and then they'll reach out to you and go, "Hey, this is being recorded against your property."
The other
It
thing,
has
Right,
been
so that's just-
recorded.
the other
That's
thing
just
you
like
can
driving.
do,
No, but
is
there's
get
nothing
a,
to
What
protect.
happens
if you
finding
go
out
get a
after
HELOC,
After, yeah, it's a problem.
But
Just
listen
put
to
it-
her,
It's
what
a
do you do
hassle.
What
after you
happens
find
after
that
that?
out?
So let's say Rob finds out within a month that something weird, wonky is happening to his house.
It's usually way later though. You
Yeah.
Okay,
find
just
out.
pretend,
So the-
like whatever.
the only other thing you could do is get a HELOC or some sort of
Yeah.
note on that
Yes.
property. That way, when they go to try to sell it, you're going to get notification of payoff. So that's instantaneously flagged.
Wow.
It's a huge
That's what I'm telling
problem.
you.
This
You
is a
should always
huge
have
problem
a
because
HELOC
it's
on your house.
Exactly.
we're in the
So it's
between
a no-brainer.
Even if you don't
paper
use it.
and
Yeah, it
digital.
costs you $100 a
You
year,
know,
maybe.
it's-
Yeah.
it's
So,
so
so
$75.
he okay, so he's flagged or he gets notified. Then what does he do? What happens? So
Then
he doesn't
it's
lose his
a-
house, you know.
They
so-
can't do anything until they pay that off. Then you're calling the bank going,
No,
don't
but
give them
well,
any
if you had your
payoff,
house
you know.
paid off, because
That's what
they're
I mean.
saying that seniors are getting their homes stolen
Yes.
from the Nigerian scammers that are taking out
Because of what-
loans against them.
Yeah, because you could do what just happened at Empire,
Mm-hmm.
to close on that, and now that person. So this happened to my wife was a subprime rep way back.
Uh-huh.
So she had. I remember I was in the car with her, and she got that phone call from her boss going, "What the? How did this happen?" So it was Pueblo, and it was the same house got sold to 6 different people. Same person, 6 different lenders, 6 different title companies. So it's a race, right? Who gets recorded first? So everybody else that doesn't get recorded, you're screwed. Like you don't get that. But they got their money. That seller got their money at 6 different, $275,000 times 6. Walked away with that money and left. And so everybody else that did a mortgage on that
And
is
you have
screwed
to
because
start
you're
a
not.
regular
You're
criminal
never going to get
case
that
with
money.
Right, they gave the money.
So that's what happens is that if you
Wild, Wild West
fabricate,
back in the
yeah,
day.
you fabricate a person, an individual, you have IDs. This is like, I think we've talked about that before. Like you like these people paying cash from out of state, and you're mailing everything. You're never seeing them eyeball to eyeball. That's exactly
And it's
what's
some
happening.
distressed
Because it was
vacant
some
property
vacant
somewhere.
property
Lands
that
and-
somebody.
Okay, so we know what can happen.
Right, but
How do we
fix it?
fix
But you,
it?
the
if
way
we-
you have
if
to
we're
go through
watching-
it, this is criminal.
You can't
That would
fix
be
it.
criminal. You have to
You have to
start
be
with
able
the
to fix
police department.
Okay,
Right?
so if you're watching your title, let's say,
Yeah.
you have a paid
how do
off
you
house,
check it?
and you're
I'm
checking it on Realist
Oh,
every
they can't
single
finalize it.
month.
They
What?
won't be able to finalize it with the lien on there. They,
No.
they could never finalize
Without a
it.
lien, if somebody,
Yeah.
you know, old
Then you're-
person,
then
whatever.
you're effed.
Claiming your
Quick
Somebody-
things your
you
property
cannot-
out.
Okay,
You gotta
so-
change
I have
your
a
title,
HELOC
then
on
you
it.
go to the title
We're paid off.
company.
Okay,
it's-
so let me get the
So
scenario.
we do-
You have
so-
this old person, all of a sudden, you're checking it, as us realtors in this room, we're checking our real list every single month, and all of a sudden we see, bam, name change on our property, new loan with Ent, or whatever, or Wells Fargo.
You could start
What
with
do
your
we
title
do?
They would
company.
at least
I would
advise
just
you.
see what they,
Yeah.
I would start with the title company. I don't know that there's much that they could do at that point.
Or give you information.
Because then you're gonna need to sue somebody, right? Whoever recorded that document, whoever's
Yeah.
name it went into, you're gonna sue that person.
Well,
Right?
the title
So
company's
paying home
guaranteed-
title lock means nothing, they're just gonna let me know
what is
when that
But they're
happens.
not offering you protection to
Exactly.
fight it.
No,
Right,
they're not.
exactly.
It's just telling you this is what's going on
It's
with
an
your
alert.
property.
How do you
Yeah.
not lose your house?
Yeah.
That's why
I know.
Okay.
You don't know the answers?
I don't, other than you have,
So-
like I said, you have to start with the
Well, hold
police
on, Sue
department
has something.
and file a criminal complaint with that, and then that will trigger a whole different process.
And talk to your lender too, right?
Right?
Like immediately.
I would, yeah.
if you have a loan.
If-
Yeah,
But a
if
lot
you
of
have
times
insurance
these
for
don't
it.
have loans.
That's
I bet
right.
they
Okay,
Our
Sue-
insurance is to, so that you are guaranteed to be able
Be
to
the owner.
transfer your
Something.
title
And-
later.
And that we
And
guarantee
when
that
you
you
go to
own the
close it,
property.
the title insurance is gonna look up and say, we're.
But
good-
how can, but title doesn't have a way to like, yeah, we
They're
could
gonna
look it
show
up
you
and go,
everything.
oh yeah, here it is, like here's the documents.
Right.
But we're not party to all that at that point.
But
They
you're
only
paying for
insure the past.
insurance.
Right.
They only insure the
No,
cat.
not if you have a general warranty deed.
Right.
Oh, how would that work?
Yeah.
That's why nobody likes those.
A
They
general.
guarantee free.
So that just,
clear-
so a general, does that just warranty when you've owned the property?
No, that's
No,
special.
it's
Okay,
all
that's
the way,
special.
all the way in
So-
the past.
It's in perpetuity
But
Yeah, it's-
forever.
So here's a teaching
I don't know, let
moment.
me get
Oh,
some
that'll be
information.
good, yeah,
Our
that'll be good.
clients, we have to tell them to remember who their title insurance company is. It's not of record anywhere. If this comes up 10 years after they close, somebody
It's
says,
in your
call your
loan
title
document.
insurance company, and they're like, we don't remember who that is.
Yeah.
Isn't it in your purchase
It
contract?
is, but who knows where to find out
Well,
that
and
stuff,
then
you
it's
know?
like, yeah, they're out of business.
Yeah, that's right.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, you're
Uh,
screwed.
We do, there is some liability, I believe, with, because
do
we
have
do
some
insure like
responsibility.
the owner's rights to the property, so there is probably something that
I
would
have-
come out of title with that.
I had a lien
Or
shop
they would,
after closing.
well, we protect your title too, so
Yeah.
we would probably, there would probably be a claim, and then and one of our attorneys would
buddy.
probably take that on.
That's what it
Huh.
was. I
Get a
bought a
little closer.
property, and a
I
few weeks
think
later,
there's
a lien showed up.
Rub off on
It was from before
We do.
closing.
Those,
Yeah.
those, and with like owner's extended coverage and all that stuff, it does give you that coverage.
But
So
that's
how come
optional.
I keep
Yes,
seeing
$95
realtors putting
upgrade.
special
Definitely
warranties
worth it.
Yeah,
It
constantly?
surprised me, like, I don't.
Why
need
is that
I don't
happening
want
right
it.
now?
That's what kills everybody's warm and fuzzies.
Somebody's
Oh
found
my
a
goodness.
loophole.
After they
They
buy
say-
it, they don't have that.
Title insurance and a special warranty deed is the preferred way to write
Yeah.
your contract.
They don't wanna do
said that-
Why would they do that?
Because
I
it's
see
not
them
okay.
all the
Okay.
time.
Sure,
Scott
Brad.
Peterson, the
We're on the hook.
That's why.
I had-
That's the
Wait, hold
only
on.
reason.
Car,
the
car council guy.
the Dora realtor.
Yeah.
Or sorry, the Dora
Car.
attorney Scott Peterson, is that his name?
Car.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he
Yeah, car.
put out a video because we were going through that with the FISBO guy because his lawyer was like, no, it's a special warranty deed. It's not a general warranty deed. And then so I watched the video and the attorney was like, yeah, no, it's supposed to be a special warranty deed because the
That's what
general
they-
warranty deed is too much risk.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for the title
if you're a
company.
seller, just do a special warranty deed.
Yes.
Right, but I keep seeing buyers writing on my
Oh.
listings, buyers agents, and they put special warranty deed in the contract.
'Cause that's what
And
they
I always
told
tell my
us.
That's
people, hey,
right.
you guys,
That's
this is
what the
great,
title
that's
company
special
wants,
warranty. Like, general warranty is
Always
better, I don't know
try
why
to
they're
do
not
that.
protecting their buyer.
Because we're not allowed to, I thought. I thought
No,
that
but-
was in
oh, we
our
can do
laws.
it.
But I
Whatever we
think, but
want.
whether it's a special
Yeah.
warranty
We can
or
make it a bargain sale.
or a general, like our policy gives you the coverage. So
We
it doesn't
used
really
to do
matter.
general.
But
as
not
a
on
matter of
what
Yeah.
we're just
It's
talking
that time
about.
frame,
about
forever
5
in the
years
past
ago.
and forever in the
Never do
future.
what?
General
Can you go,
standard
you can't
practice
go
was
back
about
to a
5
general,
years ago.
once you have a
I
special.
still put general.
Unless I know it's like a
Once
mistake.
it's special,
I did
it's
too.
gonna
You
go
can
back.
go
Yeah.
representative
You
or
can.
something.
Yeah.
I got
The
it.
title company, the underwriting, all the stuff is going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And they're gonna do all that before
that
they,
agent.
before they guarantee
Oh,
it.
she said we can't do general anymore?
Because I put it on my offer on her listing, and she
And she said you can't do that
told me, and
anymore?
she gave me all this legal stuff. I'm
You-
gonna
you
find
can.
it. Hold on.
What is that, CK?
Maybe on that particular property there was a problem.
Yeah, we do have
No,
some
we can't get
liability
in. I'll
in
find
that,
it when I
because
get
we do, that's what it is to protect your title as well, so. So we would probably, you would file a claim against
Okay.
title policy and then,
Is the premium that much more for a general versus a special?
I don't know, there's no difference.
Like extended coverage.
We don't, there's
know
no
why everybody
difference
does
in the
that.
title premium for what document you
It's
use to
150
transfer
bucks. Why
title.
would people not do that?
General
They don't
warranty
understand
deed
it.
Owner's extended coverage, why would you
is for
never?
the entire, from the
People
very
don't do that,
beginning.
and I see them on
For specialists,
contracts
for the
all the time,
sellers.
people never check that.
Well, because they don't wanna pay for an ILC
Protect
sometimes,
warranty.
most of the
It's
time.
insane.
And then that's what we see, like now we just build it into all of our quotes with you, all the OEC stuff.
Yes, right.
Because like what we had out at Heritage, right, when we were doing that
Yeah.
claim out there was no OEC from like back in like 92 or whatever, right? And that was the problem that we couldn't do anything
It
about.
should be included.
So now title companies just put it in there and it's up to you to go, okay, no, we don't want that. But we put it in there because we want, everybody has to walk away from the closing
'Cause they're
table
calling you.
satisfied, right?
Yeah,
Like,
right,
so,
exactly.
You know, so.
CYA for you guys.
How
Yeah,
much is
it
an
totally-
OEC these days?
It's like $90. or
$95
$100.
upgrade.
Yeah, I was gonna
And-
say 120.
And
This
it
is what I
protects
was
your lot
told.
lines, you know, it gives you 4 basic coverages that are not in your general.
Yeah, right.
What are
This
the
is what a
four?
lawyer
Yeah,
told me.
tell us the four.
This is good.
Yeah.
There's lot lines,
It is, but I don't know if
there's-
it's true or not.
there's still the gap in there. I forget. It's those four
The
exceptions.
next meeting, the next meeting.
Okay.
Next
got it.
meeting, yeah.
It's those 4 exceptions,
Put
1,
the-
2, 3, 4 in your commitment.
Oh,
Put the
yeah, yeah,
title
yeah.
on the
This is
offer.
from a lawyer on a counteroffer I had,
Okay.
and I said general
Lot
warranty
lines
deed.
encroachments.
Transfer of title per Colorado legislature's action in May of 2019 and seller's listing agreement in concurrence with the legislature's action, transfer of title and conveyance of residential property shall occur by special warranty deed.
That's what they were teaching us, yeah.
Yeah,
So it's a law now?
this was my.
Wait, it's a law that you're not allowed to put special?
I mean,
Or I mean,
according to
general.
this
General.
particular
General.
agent that's a lawyer, so.
I think that's
This is
just
how-
because, they worded that because the special warranty deed is the default deed of
I was
necessary.
That's
gonna
exactly
say,
what I was
Yeah.
gonna say.
Unless you ask
It's
for
a default.
otherwise,
But you
can
still
unless
ask for a
stated
general
otherwise,
warranty.
that's the default.
But I
Okay.
put, my offer was
Yeah,
general.
so
Yeah.
that person stated a fact, but they were wrong in this circumstance. They're saying, this is what we want, this is what's the default, but you could still ask for more.
No,
Yeah,
we
you
still
can
don't.
always ask for more.
She's
Yeah.
saying she
But
did
that's
ask for
what they
more, and
said.
they told her she
Yeah,
I mean, that was
and
the
so
counter.
that's when you have to
Okay.
say, I
Wait,
I still want more, I
insist.
still want more,
Okay.
yeah.
I could ask for a quick claim deed if I
Yeah.
want to.
Yeah.
worth-
You don't transfer
it's
property
not
unless
worth
through
much.
family.
I
that
know,
way.
but you can still ask for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
You
It's
still
on
do
there, isn't
legal.
it? Isn't there a
You
box
still do
for it?
general?
Does a quick claim deed
for
void your
any
original
any buyers?
title insurance
Well, you know,
policy?
like I
It
said,
can
unless
if
I
you
know
put
it's a
other
special
people on
circumstance,
it,
like, you know,
because
it's
we're
a state
insuring
sale, so you check
the
post
2
on
people who come into
representative
title.
deed or
You
whatever,
can
then,
buy
yeah,
an
I'm
endorsement where we
checking
can add
general
additional
on all
people
my
to it.
buyers.
Even on
So
What
if
if
I
you-
bought all of my homes
And like I
as
said, if they
any
don't
of my
like it,
personal name and added
Well,
my
that's
wife's,
what she
counted.
that's-
countered, yeah.
I'm
You know
done.
what I
She's not,
mean? And
she's
I-
not
What
covered.
about
Very,
trust?
very
If
rarely.
you, two
You-
people buy it, then you put it in a
At
trust.
one time or two,
That's
Yeah.
okay?
I
Yeah.
have to do a special warranty
Trust.
deed.
Countered
Okay,
twice.
I did that with all
And so
mine.
then I just started putting, what
I
do you
don't
do,
have that many
special?
properties.
Well, I'm glad I'm just
I
a
don't have
realtor
it. I don't want that
salesperson.
many.
That's what I'm
Right.
talking
Before
about.
you
Those
transfer
ones
your
in
property
Maine,
though,
you're
any
never
property,
gonna
I
go
would
there, are
check
you?
that out. I would,
It is pretty
you know.
My folks are still
And
up
I
Oh,
even,
did
I
you?
feel like
I
so
would
much
Sometimes I would argue with that, it's just not a big deal.
So
And I go to that one.
Okay.
But the other ones.
the general warranty deed is there
The
warrants
most protection.
everything from before the seller owned it. But anything before the seller owned it is still covered in title, right?
Yeah, because we do a 40-year search,
Yeah.
right? And we make sure everything is, all I's are dotted, T's are crossed, everything's paid off, no liens, no
Right,
judgments.
so.
Right, that's why I'm
if you
saying
do a
there's no,
special and you're still covered.
your title
the new
policy has
buyer-
nothing to do with the warranty or special warranty deed.
Did you come from Oklahoma?
I did.
Say
So
that
they do
again.
abstract.
There's
Oh
no,
my
so
gosh,
let's say
and
you
it's a
use
nightmare,
a
right?
special warranty, there's no difference in premium
You're
or,
right, right,
or
okay.
coverage of your title policy.
So the new buyer is still protected
Go
from
fly in
any
Alaska.
misgivings
You
in
wanna
the
see
chain
title
of
work that takes
title
forever?
from
Alaska.
before the seller owned it.
Going back.
Although
So,
Something
because
is
we're
interesting.
offering, because our title policy
Can you
is
leave
covering
a
that,
property
that
after
property
closing?
since the CO,
What do you mean?
right?
Right.
Can,
The certificate of
Yeah,
occupancy.
well,
that's why
after
out-
closing
out
and
west,
transfers
it's-
ownership, they can leave
You know,
that
like,
Come back
property
and say,
I
to
look
the
at
new
the
owner?
deeds from Maine,
It's a- it's a-
properties in
they can
Maine,
put a
and they're
lien
from,
anytime they owe money.
1805
But shouldn't it
when it
attach to
was
the-
a
Yeah, and
Does
isn't
it
that
own
like,
3 million acre
Not the-
farm.
but isn't that an
Yeah.
attorney state too? Is
I'm
his
a-
main,
if
like,
I'm a-
that's, yeah, that's
You
You
crazy.
said
Contractor,
warranty it
abandoned.
sometimes
Yeah.
as a CO, what about
I'm not
some
gonna-
of these
they're not gonna
properties
track
out there
all
that
that
are
down,
selling
you know what I
them
mean?
without a
No,
CO?
I mean, if I'm the,
I don't know.
No, no, I
Can't
think that
sell-
our,
they can't get a loan.
Yeah,
Anybody
you-
can
yeah,
put a
'cause
lien on
we-
your house
Right,
anytime they
no, it
want
has
to.
to be a cash buyer,
Yeah.
but.
and we'll see
Isn't that
that,
crazy?
and we would
Yeah,
take
it
a
is, it's
requirement.
crazy.
Wait, what? You're selling houses without a CO?
Yes.
Yeah, there's
She
one
had a
out in Yoder.
condominium.
There's one out in Yoder right now that they started construction on it and abandoned it, and it's out there for like $319.
Oh, got
But
it.
it doesn't have a CO.
CO, so
There's no
There's
claim.
Does
a
it-
barndominium
but it's
out
a
east
big
right
one.
now on Big
No.
Spring.
And it still needs to
that's
be finished, right?
absolutely gorgeous, but they couldn't get the CO on it because they didn't actually have a true foundation underneath it. It's just sitting on a slab.
Yeah. That's
So-
right. So I
so,
just
yeah,
closed
there's
one. I
properties
cloused
out
one
there.
yesterday. Like
And they have
that.
to be cash.
But it would be,
Sure.
it would be,
Clouded title.
So
I think we
wait.
talked about it with the deck, where Pikes Peak
without a CO,
Regional
it's not an improvement.
No, you
came
can't
in
go
and they
alone.
gave them the
Yeah.
cease and
But
desist
even if you
because
buy
Yeah,
cash.
yeah, yeah.
Even if
It's
yeah.
So they
It's a
couldn't
vacant
sell it
land
because it had a
contract.
cloud on title
It's
because
just
of
like
this.
if you have a,
There's
so much-
something
Yeah,
with
you
Pikes Peak
basically
Regional.
Put
are
out there.
considering that
So
an
if they
ag
paid
building.
cash
yeah,
for that, it would have been no problem.
so I did it
Yeah.
where,
And then you
Yeah,
do it
just
after
kidding.
the
a trailer,
But for that scenario,
It's never
like
been
I got
purged.
buddies
I
at banks
see.
and it was a
Bye-bye.
vacant
set up
land.
lines of
Good to
credit
see
for
you.
a couple
Bye-bye.
million
Trailer
bucks,
was
and you
conveyed
See you,
go.
Sue.
a bill of sale. It's like
If you want to
refrigerator.
buy a property, they don't
So-
put a lien on it like we would do a normal mortgage.
it's just there's so much out
So
there,
you
like.
can do a normal
Personal
mortgage
credit.
without
Yeah,
a
it's
CO.
so much. But a
Or signature
business
loan.
type warranty.
Business.
You can do a normal mortgage without a CO?
No, you
No,
can't.
that's what I'm saying. So like buddies that, I got buddies that do.
There's
fix
some
and
banks
flips.
that.
As a
So-
land deal.
They just set up like a $2 million line of credit for you, and you want to go buy a property. They go, hey, this is the property I'm buying, and you cut a check from that line of credit. So it's not a normal mortgage like we're going to be doing with a deed of trust and all that stuff.
But with a transaction with,
So it's like a cash deal.
so if there's a building that doesn't have a CO,
You're not
residents-
coming. You're not coming to us.
but technically it's a land deal because
Yeah,
it's
yes,
not an
title's still-
improvement if it's not, doesn't have.
Yeah,
a
but someone's not gonna sell it just for the value of the land, I doubt.
I've had to
Right,
do
but it
those
would still
before.
be,
But I see what you're saying.
yeah, like we did a deal a long time ago. It was a trailer that was never purged on a lot. And so we had to do the deal as vacant land, and we conveyed the trailer via bill of sale and signed the title over.
But most of
Because it's
those,
a
like,
car.
I used to
Yeah,
do
it's a bill of
land-
sale, just like the refrigerator.
Yeah, but when we were RBC, this 18, 19
It
years
was a
ago,
cash deal.
I couldn't do that deal as a land deal because of that structure on it. Because it
But it
was,
Right.
wasn't, but it wasn't
But-
structure.
but it was a structure.
It was-
Well,
no,
it was.
it
It
was-
had
it was-
wheels on it, but
It was a trailer.
but it was affixed to something like
Yeah, it
semi-
was not-
like
the
tied down
wheels
with
were gone.
zip ties and.
Is that
Yeah.
property that's out there?
But we couldn't do it as a land deal because it had that PO.
Right, yeah, they have to drag it
hazard
off,
on
take
it.
a picture, and
You
then
gotta
push it
know
back.
So you,
Right.
and most lenders, I mean, we're looking at loan to value limits, like lending loan to value limits. We look at it as if we had to foreclose on it. Like,
Correct.
what's the risk? How
Right.
fast are we going to be able to sell that and recuperate our money as a lender?
Right, yeah.
So when you're looking at, this is why condos are a nightmare to finance, because back in '08, that's the first thing that took a tank, manufactured homes and condos. So they let all those go. So now from a risk factor, we don't want to lend more than X amount. So right now, this is why condos are sitting on the market. They're non-warrantable, so Fannie
Yes.
and Freddie won't
That's
take them. We can't get them off our books. So it's a
Don't wanna carry
portfolio lending, and we don't want to carry that
Unless
stuff.
you're making more on it.
It's
Yeah.
horrible, you
So,
guys.
and then you need 25% plus down to get
more
rid
skin in
of
the
to ditch a condo.
That remember a couple weeks ago we were talking about somebody's basement and how they did the improvements, but
Yeah,
it
yeah.
wasn't up to
Rough,
code and all
That was
that.
Rob's
stuff.
personal
Yeah.
house.
Is that kind of the same thing that happened there, where they just started building and they couldn't? They built it to the way that they did it. It wasn't to code, and now they'd have to tear the whole structure down to get.
So yeah, that's what we have
That's
to do.
what
I-
Like,
Right, right, but no
Yeah.
one's gonna do
I mean,
that.
and the
That's
crazy
crazy.
thing is, this particular one, I mean, it's like the barn dominium that I sold in Pueblo was,
I just saw one.
Unbelievable.
it was a
Did you get that email from
shit
the?
stack, really. But like this
Can't they
one
just, like,
is
punch the
gorgeous.
wall
It's
Uh-huh.
beautiful.
walls and see if the
Um,
wirings
can't
are
But
think
it's
of
not-
it
But
because it's not
I
on the
think
side.
what it
on the
was
foundation,
is
dude.
It was a dad and a son out of state. So see, people do things like this
Yeah.
out of state all the
They're
time.
Yeah.
And the son
Yeah.
was a contractor. They
I
actually
watched the
had,
whole thing.
I think it was like Top Dog Contracting or
yeah.
something.
Oh,
All
yeah.
of his
Oh, shit,
buddies,
maybe
they came out. I mean, this is
30% of
people
it.
that know how to do stuff. But it was the slab that is not
How do you
setting
do that?
on a foundation.
How do you spill
So
that much money?
regional
into something?
building caught wind of it, and regional building says we can't
Yeah.
issue you a CO
Yeah.
until
It's the same situation.
Right,
So basically, it's
put
a
a
pole
true
barn with a
foundation
slab.
underneath it.
on that.
And they said you can't
I
sell
wouldn't
this like an
yeah.
ag building until you go in there and you remove the furnace and you remove the 220 volt out of the kitchen, so that we know you're not going to just turn around and put somebody
And
into
it was that
and
barndominium that I helped
try to
call.
live in it.
I called
Are we
for
in Russia?
her
What's going on over here?
regional building
Not
in
even
much.
Pueblo.
city limits,
Do you
is
remember
it?
that?
Yeah.
Like in Oklahoma.
Oh, that was-
outside
So
the
wait
city
till you guys
limits, we
hear
don't
this
have to have a
story.
CO.
So she's trying to
Like
sell us
in, like,
barndominium,
we built out
and
area
the regional
everything.
building's
I mean,
giving
we
them
didn't
a
have
hard time and stuff. So I thought, well, I'll just call that guy and talk to him and find out exactly what needs to be done.
We didn't do it.
So
We didn't take
I
it.
call, they don't answer, I leave a message. He calls me back, leaves a message on my phone, and he's like, yeah, Mr. Rymouth, they're not gonna be able to do that, we got things going on. He was being all cordial and stuff. And I was like, all right, give me a call back. And then he doesn't hang up. And I hear him go, those effing motherfuckers, you know, they're not gonna get it. I'm gonna spill it down to him. And he's like talking to other people, and I'm going, I don't believe this. This is the regional
gone in.
Did you
building,
forward
like
that to
they're
him?
I
they're
hear that.
literally
I hear
getting
that.
like whatever
Scum.
emotional over this, and they're like,
Scumbag.
I know, I was so ticked off.
Did you forward it back to him and go?
No,
just
I
wanted
don't
to
even
let
know
you
what happened. You finally sold it somehow. I
I
don't
got
know.
it sold. Yeah.
It was
Cash buyer.
crazy.
Cash
You
buyer,
should take it
right?
to
Wow.
the
Yeah,
I mean, you
right.
could
Yeah.
stilt it, right? You
And
could stilt it
disclose.
Like
and
a
build
little
your.
hole
Yeah, you'd have to
in
lift it.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. It was so
Well,
evil.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Wow.
not a good
There's
idea.
no place for
It's like
emotion
with this
that.
one, right?
Uh-huh.
Because that happens out east, these acreage properties all the time. Somebody has
sure.
gone into their shop and they've finished out a little space for their mom or their
Yeah.
dad or whatever.
Yeah.
That never trips anybody's trigger because there's already a house or a manufactured house there
Yeah.
that somebody's living in. So cars and people coming and going, no big deal.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what my client was looking at this one going, well, hell, if I just throw a manufactured, if I buy this cash and just throw a manufactured on it,
They
like,
rent it.
you can obviously still use that finished space even though it doesn't have a CO. And then
Closet.
nobody's really
Or have
gonna
it
bother you. They'll leave you
crazy.
alone because there's cars and people
So,
coming and
you know,
going because
that's-
there's a house there now.
Put
Like
a
we're-
hot water heater in, didn't get a permit, and I got caught.
Really?
I'm like, how'd they find out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got
Oh,
caught for
how would you
electrical.
get caught? How?
They
Because
literally.
your water, the tank is bigger probably.
No.
No, I got a notice that, hey, you didn't get a permit on this. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
Somebody.
I had to call me.
Somebody tried to
So,
I think someone saw someone hauling it in, probably like a
And they
nosy
called-
neighbor.
they
I mean, who
Yeah, but what
knows?
Oh my!
Why?
I literally got a notice saying you
I-
need to get a permit, and
Yeah.
after I'd already put it in, I'm like,
that does not make
I got
sense.
it for electrical
I
work.
get
I was
permits
doing
on
electrical work.
everything because I've
and
heard
I
horror
got, I had gotten
Reroll
a
the
bid.
dice. No, I'm just
I get it.
One of the people that
My
I got
aunt
the bid
had a
from,
He
tank
narked
down
you
her
out.
and
back.
he narked me out, and I had to go back. Regional stung me. I had 6 different inspections, and they kept changing it and changing it. And I was like, finally, I was like, what the? And I
What did
called
you
him. I was
do?
like, this guy. I did some electrical work, and it was on a investment property. I should have gotten the.
yeah, this was an investment property.
But I was moving some. I just.
Just
I was
dabbling a
moving-
little light electric.
Well, I'm a handy guy. It's,
Yeah,
But I was
right.
just
Light
moving
electric.
some outlets.
Oh, that's
I was
not bad.
moving them around,
That
and
has to
so
be
I had
permitted.
gotten a bid to do it. I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not gonna spend $3,000 doing that. I know how to do this stuff.
Yeah,
And I
right.
was just moving. I wasn't even like, no. I wasn't even changing the breaker. I just was using the existing stuff,
Yeah.
moving it over.
Yeah.
And so I did it, and then I got the big patch on the front door, and I was like, oh shit.
Wow.
But it was
Wow.
the guy that
Somebody
did the bid,
squealed on you.
and I didn't use. I found out
Oh.
it was buddies with
What the heck?
So it took me calling regional. Like I kept getting this inspector, and he failed me, and then he told me I got to do something else. And so like the
Oh, they
8th
stuck
time, I
it
was like,
to you.
I called and I was like, what in the is
Yeah,
going on?
right.
Why can't you just tell me what I need to do so I can do it right and have you come out and
Right.
sign off? And some head guy called. He goes, "Oh, dude, I'm sorry. This like you had a bid done by this guy, and this inspector is buddies with this guy.
no.
You're
That is
he came out
crazy.
like the next day, checked off on it. It was done.
Did that guy get
Unbelievable.
fired at least?
I didn't have the bandwidth to follow
You
up.
can't fight this
Government.
stuff.
You
It's
can't
hard.
fire. Oh, wait a minute. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Elon Musk can fire him.
My wife.
I was gonna say, I moved
won't
some
let me
stuff
do
around.
Electric work
Yeah.
because I did some
Plumbing
electric
and
work and she was
electrical.
shocked.
Yeah.
That's crazy. People are like that
So-
though. My little brother in California got sued by, he does title as well, and he got sued by the insurance commission, right? And he had to pay like $10,000. And they put him in the newspaper and all this
Oh my
stuff,
God.
right?
Accenture.
And then after the whole case is done and his company paid the fine, they hand him the paper, and it was the company he left reported him to the freaking,
Oh my
to
god.
the insurance commissioner.
Kick in the
Boy.
shorts.
Wow.
That is so
That's why we can't leave a
petty.
choir.
Yeah.
They know too much.
So
Keep
the
write that down.
barndominiums.
That's why it's all in
They'll be fine, right?
They know too
Yeah.
much. So petty.
But even that,
I would
can you
think
guys
so.
finance a barn dominium?
If there's comps, I mean,
That's
and it's done
it's
the
like
right
any
way.
other
Oh,
unique
yeah.
Yeah,
barn,
just
right?
like a
Barn
unique
dominium.
A friend of mine's got a barndominium contract down in like Ordway, Rocky Ford area, and the appraisal just came back, good to go, but the lender sent it back because there weren't available comps and they were.
Right, they were
Yeah.
using something else.
So
or
that's like
something.
log homes. I mean, even log homes are that way. If
Yeah.
you don't have any other log home
Yeah.
comps,
Yeah.
you're effed.
But
We don't
having
mess
put-
with them too much. It's
so-
not worth the
I did not
headache.
know
Problem
that.
Again, when,
themselves to
when you're
others,
looking
aren't
at
they?
it from a perspective
We
of
gotta
if you
open
stop
it.
paying,
Yeah,
you gotta
like,
foreclose
do
on how
them
quickly
every
can
year.
we
How- you know what?
There's
What's
no
your-
other
like,
ones?
I was in
I try to
Minnesota
explain it as
barndominium
what's your
once,
buyer
and I'm like,
pool? What's your buyer
There's no
pool?
way
If I had to get rid
I
of
would
this
ever be
tomorrow,
able to
what's my
get my
buyer
truck
pool?
Well, I mean, I think my argument would be, depending on
One step at a time.
when you're talking, some types of properties sell more than others,
Mhm.
and that can change. So,
Yeah.
I mean, there's an argument
And so
anyway.
portfolio, like I have some portfolio products, they don't give two flips.
They don't care.
But you're putting down 25, 30%, so our risk is pretty
Yeah.
minimized.
Wow.
But if you wanted to go do 95% financing
Right.
on a barn dominium, there damn well better be some comps in that area.
That's right.
well, I wonder, like, Rob and I had a listing in up at Divide, and it was 60 acres. The guy built a house like 10, 15 years before, beautiful house. But on that land was 4 historic cabins. Like, the oldest one was from like 1875.
Ooh, that's cool.
And
That
then
is cool.
they were one-room cabins and everything.
It's probably looking at
And
portfolio.
I'm going, how did he ever get a loan when he bought it without the main house? And then when we sold it, I'm just trying to figure out where they would have
So
ever
that's-
found a comp.
That's where I tell people that I could do a portfolio loan on just about anything.
Yeah,
But you're putting down
Way more.
30%, 40%.
right.
But
Do you remember what they did on
you know,
that?
if you want traditional financing, you got to fit
What
into
they
the
did down?
box.
Yeah.
You know,
It was
that's about.
1.4 million.
But it's for sale right now, I think.
They
So I'm
sold
doing one for a
sold
lady in
last year,
Arkansas.
like
She
2,
just same. It's very similar, and she told me I was like, oh,
Yeah.
it's like 500 grand, and but now it's got 5 RV hookups, and it's got
Uh-oh.
2 extra cabins, and I was like,
6.
oh, whoa.
Sounds like a commercial
It's
property.
Yellowstone.
I said
Yeah.
we might have a problem with this, or
Yellowstone.
is there anything else out there?
Amazing.
And so we have to shift that one from a regular loan to some portfolio loan. Which is
Yeah.
Mine needs to be rezoned.
There's a lot of
I said
stuff
that
going
sounds
on.
like a commercial deal.
Oh, nice save.
Oh, wow!
I thought he was stung by
He
a
wasn't
bee or
trying to
something.
save the building, he was trying to save himself. He was trying to jump up so it would spill everywhere.
He got bit or something, you know?
I got that one on film, man. Anything else before we wrap up here?
Cat-like
12.
reflexes.
Anything else?
So, how
Nice and
should I
scary
go about
meeting.
filing that lien against the neighbor across the street?
Exactly.
Let's do it.
Dude.
Actually, I'm asking for a
Call
friend.
a person named Trey Laura.
Yeah, it sounds like they do all the dirty deeds.
They do all the dirty stuff.